Welcome to episode 7 of From A to Global Z. I'm your host, Dr. Bill Lord. Now, the past few episodes have featured audio production Best Buy recommendations that will allow you to achieve quality audio recordings for as little expense as possible. And this episode continues that discussion as we explore the unsung heroes of audio production, the accessories you might want to consider investing in to get the job done. Before we dive in, it's time for Mic Talk. In episode 6, I mentioned there's a relatively unknown company, ISK, making quality mics at amazingly affordable prices. One of the mics I recommended is the ISK Little Gem Small Diaphragm Condenser, which ships with 3 interchangeable capsules giving you cardioid, hypercardioid, and omnidirectional patterns, all for the insane price of $49. Well, here it is. It's a really good looking mic. It's well built, and I think it sounds really great, so see what you think. Now back to our talk about accessories, and first up we want to talk about cables, and specifically XLR cables. But before we get into that conversation, I want to tell you a little related story. I was setting up to record for our phase 1 project and had a musician off-site in a studio, and we weren't getting a signal from the audio interface to the computer. And this is a problem because no signal means no recording. And I've spent years working in audio production with computers and in educational technologies, and it's really rare to get a cable failure. But in this case, the USB audio interface cable was not working. So I swapped out the cable and we were back in business in no time. And the moral of the story, always have spare cables. So back to XLR cables. As a reminder, an XLR cable has 3 pins and is commonly used to connect quality microphones to audio interfaces and mixing consoles. And first of all, the opinion on the street is you can't hear the difference of a mic recorded on a 3-foot long cable versus a 200-foot long cable. So in most cases, degradation of signal is not an issue when selecting your cable. That might change if you use a really poorly insulated cable, which might be prone to signal interference. And personally, I always like to select a cable that is just long enough to get the job done. It's easier to manage, less prone to getting entangled on something or someone. And as an example, my studio monitors connect to my desktop's audio interface using a 3-foot XLR cable, while I commonly have a collection of 10, 15, 20, and 30-foot cables on hand to accommodate a variety of studio and location recording scenarios. So what brand of cable do I like? Monoprice, and their build quality is rock solid. Their prices are hard to beat. So for instance, I like their Premier cables. They frequently run sales on this particular model, and today their 50-foot Premier cable can be had for just $15. It has over 1,000 5-star ratings, and that's a whole lot of love. And also their Premier 3-foot cable is just $3, so I recommend you check them out. I also recommend Monoprice for a number of their other items. So for instance, you can pick up a small diaphragm condenser mic clip for $1.02. You can also get a music stand from them for $15, a mic stand and scissor boom for less than $20. And I especially like their dollar mic clips. You can't beat the price. Now, to be clear, I've not purchased their mic stands or scissor booms, so I can't speak to the quality of those, but I've been quite pleased with almost everything I bought from Monoprice. Now, while the dollar Monoprice mic clips are great, they don't provide any isolation that prevents floor vibrations from transferring to the mic and ruining your recording. There are some reasonably priced options, such as the Allray SHM SD2 or the OnStage MY320. I kind of like the Allray unit for under $15, and there are cheaper versions out there as this design undeniably floats and isolates the mic nicely in the middle of the silicone bands. I don't recall where I got this particular one that I'm using, but even $15 for the Allray I think is reasonable. The problem is small diaphragm mics can have metal edges that, if you're not careful, can chew through the bands pretty quickly. You don't have to worry about this problem with the OnStage units, which are a measly $10, and they have their own unique float design made of a dense but flexible rubber, so that kind of strikes a nice balance between the two types of designs. Another option, albeit it's more expensive, is to mount a cheap clip mic onto something like the $25 Alphonic shock mount. Now this shock mount was designed to work with the Blue Yeti, but it's also supposed to work on other large diaphragm condenser mics. It would definitely work with a small condenser mic on a clip, but I tested it on a couple large condenser mics, and there was not any room to get the mic cable attached to the mic, which is a real shame, as the shock mount itself looks to be quite nice, and it is thin, and it makes for easy storage and shipping. Now, from a price to performance ratio for small diaphragm condensers, I will just go ahead and be really careful using the mic holder that has the silicone band clips, or if I'm on location, I'll probably go ahead and use one of those on-stage units. That would be my thoughts. So next up, we're going to talk about pop filters. And as you may well be aware, or maybe you're not, pop filters have a metal, plastic, or fabric mesh placed between the microphone and the vocalist. And that filter is designed to block moisture or spit from hitting the mic. And more obviously, it prevents plosives from distorting the recording of the vocalist. Condenser mics in particular are notorious for taking an airburst that accompanies words with the letter P and having the recording sound like a pop or a small explosion. And pop filters do away with these plosives, so they have great value. For pop filters, I have a few nice options worth looking into. Monoprice again makes the list. For $8, you get a well-made dual screen filter with a universal C-clip on a 13-inch gooseneck. It's an excellent buy. A couple other options you might think about for medium size and large side addressed mics, or mics that are designed to pick up sound from the side of a mic. First, there's the Mauke MPF-UBK, which ships with 2 adapter bands. I like this option as it has a metal front panel. It has a small footprint, it's adaptable to most side address mic sizes, and it's super affordable at less than $8. Another one that I like is the Pimo Tech metal mesh mic shield, and it uses 2 elastic bands to attach to the basket of to the side of medium to large diaphragm condenser mics, and it can be had for $9. It does ship with 2 extra bands, so when you snap the first 2, you're still good to go. But again, you have to be mindful of the fact that eventually these bands will bust and will need to be replaced. The last thing I want to touch on is what to put your studio monitors on. Of course, this only pertains to you if you use studio monitors. Studio monitors need to be isolated from surfaces they sit on, such as a desktop, as bass frequencies can travel through the desk and alter the true sense of what is recorded on the audio file. You also want to elevate the tweeters so they're about the same height as your ears, and you can easily spend over 100 clams on fancy schmancy isolation products, but you don't have to. I have a small pair of Monoprice, surprise, studio monitors, and they fit well enough on a pair of yoga blocks I got on discount from Marshall's. Or better yet, you can go to your local craft store and get a block of high-density foam, cut it to fit your monitor size. Just customize it. And actually, I went online and I found an affordable solution. It's pre-cut, pre-made. Here's one here by Sound Addicted. It's their studio monitor isolation pad. Now, the point of all this is you don't need to spend huge money to get the isolation job done, whether you're talking studio monitors or mics. Just invest a little time, poke around, and see what options are available to you. So that's it for this episode. For episode 8, we're going to make a major mind shift by moving away from gear and discussing our virtual model. We will explore some of the theory and experiences behind why we do everything virtually. I hope you'll join me as we begin down this cerebral path. So until then, wishing you peace through music, I'm Bill Lord.